Welcome to Radical Personal Finance. My name is Joshua Sheets, and on today's podcast, I want to share with you some important ideas about how to set appropriate goals, recognizing the fact that every single goal that is hard for you is easy for someone else. What do you do about that? But first, as I record this, it's Friday, May 8, which means that this school year is coming to an end, and next school year is ready to be planned. You know what? That's one of the things that I find a little bit annoying and frustrating about the way that a lot of people approach the ideas of children's school curriculum. Basically, you buy it, you use it up, use it for a year, and then you have to buy it again every year. New workbooks, new consumables every single year. Instead of basically building for yourself a family asset in terms of your library and your curriculum, you wind up with a subscription payment. And, well, I guess maybe if you send that subscription payment to me, that might be nice someday. But for now, I want you to buy an asset. I want to tell you about the math curriculum that thinks differently about this, called Life of Fred. There are no workbooks, no consumables. Every single book that we sell at Life of Fred is a hardcover Smyth-sewn novel about a 5-year-old math prodigy named Fred Gauss, who will teach your children math by getting himself into one ridiculous adventure after another. We go from kindergarten all the way through college with one coherent, consistent story where every single math concept is needed by Fred to solve some problem he's facing before it's ever taught. Books are full of problems. You just work those problems in a separate notebook or a separate piece of paper. And frankly, these books, I think, can last at least 3 generations, if not more. So if you'd like to spend all in, say about $1,000, you can purchase pretty much the whole curriculum for about $1,000. You can use it like I do through about 6 children and through multiple generations. So as you're building your family library and you're building your math curriculum, please consider that this year. If you're interested, go to lifeoffred.com, lifeoffred.com. Buy the books there. Thank you very much. Let's talk about goal setting. I want to tell you about one of my, I say goals, I haven't committed to this, but it's more of an ambition. So let me I'm going to label it as a goal as long as you accept that slight equivocation there, that if it were a goal, I would be actively taking steps towards it every week, and I'm not. However, it is kind of that thing in the back of my head that I always come back to. And the goal is this. Wouldn't it be cool if I were to take my children to every country in the world before they left my home? Wouldn't that be fun? Now, I've been thinking about this for many years. If you're into traveling as I am, it's hard to not enjoy collecting passport stamps and not launch at some point in time the dream of collecting all of them. And if you're into Guinness Book of World Records stuff as I am, and you're into traveling, you undoubtedly know quite a lot about the different records that people have set with regard to traveling. So there's the youngest person in the world to travel to every country in the world. That record is currently held by Lexi Alford, who accomplished it at 21 years and 177 days old. There's the youngest man who did it, James Asquith, who did it at 24 years and 192 days. There are records like the fastest time to travel to each country in the world, which is about 499 days. There's somebody who recently did the fastest trip to every country in the world by public surface transport, so no flying. That was by a Brit named Graham Hughes, who did it in 4 years and 31 days. And there are many others of these records. What's interesting, though, is if you start thinking about records, what you recognize is that with a record like traveling to every country in the world, anybody who wanted to travel to every country and anybody who had the money to travel to every country could pretty much break the record whenever desired. Now, there are some rules to that, but I always just think like this. Like if Elon Musk wanted to break the record of traveling the fastest time to travel to every country in the world, all he would do would be to get in his airplane and fly from country to country to country, and he could just snap his fingers, and in a couple of weeks, his team would work things out and he could instantly break the record. But that would be meaningless to him, right? What would that matter to him? And yet, for me, the idea of taking my children to every country in the world is one of those fascinating things that I keep in the back of my head. Because in order to do it, I could do it the slow way. I don't want to. But in order to do it, I would have to build the financial engines that will succeed in moving things forward without me. Because I have found again and again, every time I've tested the travel stuff, it's just all consuming and I fall dreadfully behind on work. So I would have to have teams that are running my businesses. I would have to be able to get myself out of it. And I need all the logistical support. I would need to have a household of multiple people in my home consistently working with me in order to make it even fun to do with a bunch of children. And so for me, the idea of traveling to every country in the world is engaging as a goal because it requires a substantial amount of growth. And it's kind of like this centering idea that, man, if I could achieve that, then I would have made progress in my life. But for a billionaire, traveling to every country in the world is not particularly difficult. Years ago, I read Jim Rogers' book where he described when he drove around the world, and basically he called up a shop. They built him this cool car with a Mercedes convertible slapped on top of a G-Wagon chassis. He loaded up his girlfriend and they just started driving. Fairly simple. And so my point is that a goal that is hard for me would be very easy for someone else. And yet that doesn't make the goal not worth striving for. The big lesson is what makes the goal worth striving for. So for me, having in the back of my head a goofy goal like, I'm going to take my children to every country in the world, I'm going to travel 3 or 4 months a year, is a cool centering thing to say, well, if I were to do it, here is what would be necessary in order for me to do it. And so therefore, I need to accomplish these other things, and that moves me in the direction that I want to go. But again, for the billionaire, it would just be writing a check. So the billionaire has to do something else. He has to choose a different set of goals. Now, by the way, let's go back to Guinness Book of World Records goals. Not all goals can just be bought. So let's say that you're a billionaire, but you decide you want to pursue some goal of physical endurance, right? You want to be the person to break the record for the world's longest plank. Well, that record of 9 hours, 38 minutes, and 47 seconds is currently held by a Czech man named Josef Salik. Or the most pull-ups, 12,345 pull-ups done in 24 hours, held by Enrique Zapata from Mexico. All of a sudden now, your money can't buy those results. And so if you said, I want to break this record, but you're doing something that requires you to engage in just this unbelievable physical feat that can't be purchased, all of a sudden, things would be different because that would be really, really hard. And so the point of this is to say that if you look at goal setting, what you recognize is that every goal that is hard for you is easy for someone else. So it's not actually the accomplishment of the goal that matters, but rather who you become in accomplishing the goal. Which means that if there's something that is hard for you and easy for someone else, it's still good for you to tackle that. Still good, still productive. You should just set your own goal. And it doesn't matter if what's hard for you is easy for someone else. What matters is this moving you in the direction that you want to go? And thus, intelligently created goals are the goals that consistently pull you forward. One of the things that took me years to figure out, and I still kind of wish for it a little bit, but in my younger days, I had this idea that the point of setting a goal was to achieve it. Because when I achieve the goal, when I set the goal and achieve it, then I'll be happy, right? We all have this idea. Well, I'll set this goal, I'll achieve it, and then I'll be happy. Well, that happiness or that euphoria, those emotions, lasts for 10 to 24 hours, maybe some things a couple of days, and then quickly they're gone. So I think being happy is not a suitable goal. Rather, just choose to be happy now and set that as a goal, but pursue it in a different way. So the point is that goal setting is something that stretches you out. And there is no point in time at which when you achieve something, it magically changes your life. Rather, setting the goal transforms you into a different person, and then you can go forward to the next thing as the kind of person who is transformed. And so an intelligent goal is one that's just going to systematically move you in the direction of the progress that you want to make. And then on the other side of it, you're going to set another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, because it's the growth itself measured by consistent goal achievement or consistent execution. It's the growth that is the pleasurable thing, not the accomplishment, not the achievement. It's about who you become, not what you achieve. So when you turn to your money, don't let the fact that somebody else can buy and sell you 1,000 times over make any difference to you. Take joy and take pleasure in setting the next goal, the next ambition, the next thing that is necessary for you, and systematically focus on the enjoyment of the process and take your pleasure from the progress that you're making, not the perfection that you've achieved, and keep on growing. And when you're growing, when you're being stretched in the direction that you want to go, and you are consistently doing things that are hard for you, then the day will come that the things that are hard for you now will just be things that were hard for you before. And it's that constant growth process, especially combined with good relationships all around and a few other basic things, that leads to a pleasurable and satisfying life. At least for me. Consider if it might also be for you.